Yeah, there's been different times where it'll just be me and Michael. Then there'll be other times where he has other friends over, too. That's what Brett said, it's just a slumber party. We just have a lot of fun.
We just have a lot of fun.
Intense sexual abuse. So yeah, that had to be clear.
If I can just say, for decades, Jackson put up this smokescreen, which was reinforced by, his family and the media as well.
The allegations were nothing new. Obviously, I didn't know there was going to be a film. But I knew about the allegations because Wade Robson and James Safechuck sued the Michael Jackson estate all the way back in 2013. So this is something that's very much under the radar, rumbled on and on. How that all started, Wade Robson tried to get a job with the Michael Jackson estate, being the lead choreographer on the Cirque du Soleil show.
I'm starting on Cirque du Soleil Michael Jackson show. So it's, the equivalent of the Beatles' Love show that they have, or the Elvis show, but for Michael.
Didn't get the job. Was at crossroads in his career, lacking finances, not really knowing where to turn. He was desperate to get this job. Been praising Michael ever since Michael died. Went to his memorial service at Staples Center, saying in interviews how Michael was this great friend of his.
Michael was such a huge part of my career and life. We were friends for 20 years before he passed, since I was 7. So it's an opportunity for me to give back a little bit to his legacy. It's such a big part of his legacy, and to make sure as much as I can that it's done right and that it really represents his essence.
Didn't get the job, didn't know what to do, was having this sort of breakdown. And he started to write a book about Michael and tried to shop that book around. And in it claimed that Michael Jackson had abused him. No one would have it. So that was when Wade Robson went to a civil lawyer and looked at his options and eventually filed a creditor's claim against the Michael Jackson estate. It was initially $1.5 billion. I don't have an intrinsic knowledge of the ins and outs of how much it eventually was, but it's hundreds of millions of dollars. He actually filed that lawsuit initially under seal. So if you file something under seal, it doesn't become public record. He was hoping that the estate would go, oh, here's X amount of money, let's keep this quiet, here's your money, go away. But the estate was like, no chance, we're gonna fight this. That's when it became public. I'll go back to James Safechuck. He was watching Wade Robson. This was May 2013, watching Wade Robson on TV, one of the TV shows in America, where Wade Robson says, I was abused and all this stuff happened to me. And James Safechuck said in his sworn declaration, that was what triggered something in his mind, made him realize, oh, I've been abused by Michael Jackson too. There've been so many inconsistencies in terms of when they knew about this alleged abuse. Wade Robson is saying that in 2005, I testified in Michael's defense because I saw his children. Michael was a friend. I didn't want him to go to jail. That's why I did it. And yet then he's saying that he only realized that he was abused in 2012-13, so you got that inconsistency. It's the same with Safechuck. 2005, claiming that he was asked to testify in Michael Jackson's trial, which is not true. Early on in the trial, a judge ruled that any evidence as per James Safechuck would not be admitted, would not be allowed in the trial. Yet in the documentary, we see Safechuck saying that Michael called me, Michael's lawyers called me, I refused to testify. He's saying that he knew about the abuse in 2005. Michael's a bad man, I'm not going to testify. And then he says that the Wade Robson TV show is what triggered him into realizing that he was abused. So you've got them saying, okay, we suddenly realized in 2012-13, but hey, we knew in 2005, because Wade Robson, I was protecting Michael Safechuck. I wasn't going to testify because he's a bad man. That's when James Safechuck filed a copycat lawsuit. So from 2013 until 2017, you've got this ongoing litigation with the estate. Eventually, a judge threw out the lawsuit because of a thing called statute of limitations. They just basically filed it too late. A year later, you've got the documentary announcement being made.
And I watched it, and
I was saddened by the show. You know, victims of child abuse is a very, very serious matter, but it didn't really push anything about the child abuse thing. I don't know. I watched it, and all it was like watching a court case where you heard the prosecution and no defense. It was so totally unbalanced, and I don't know. It made me feel sick.
That was, for them, the obvious route. Let's make this thing public. Let's make this a worldwide issue. Can this help our appeal, which isn't mentioned in the documentary, against the decision by a judge to throw out the case?
It's like I don't feel like they want justice. If that was me, that would be above anything. That is what I would want. I wouldn't want to be going, you know, in front of a camera, talking about my experience to people that don't know me. You know, the first thing I would do is go to the police. I wouldn't be thinking like how, you know, oh, let's turn this into a book. Let's go and sue the family. Because who does that?
I couldn't speak the truth any earlier than I did. I wish I could have. I wish I was emotionally and mentally capable earlier than I was.
I think being heard is, you know, probably one of the #1 wants of a victim. But, you know, also when all this goes away and the interest goes away, you know, we're still left with being abused.
So much silence and so much isolation, which I experienced, James experienced, and most survivors experience. So being heard is a powerful thing. We can't control what people believe. That's up to people's own journey.
All of Michael's accusers, it's always been about money.
It's never because, you know, there's evidence that he's done this or done that. It's always money, or always going for the money first, or they wait till he dies and goes for the money because they know a criminal trial won't work. So it's always financial.
Let's start at the beginning. So when there's money involved, that automatically should make people wary. What are their intentions here? And then you've got previous behavior in court. Wade Robson and Jimmy Safechuck are perjurers because they testified under oath. So Safechuck back in '93 and Robson, Michael Jackson never did anything. Sworn declaration signed under penalty of perjury. 2005, Wade Robson testified in court under oath, under penalty of perjury. Nothing ever happened.
What I find odd is the fact that Mesereau, Michael's lawyer, who is an extremely high-powered lawyer, would have obviously interviewed this kid in depth, and he was talking about one of the top lawyers in America, and if he was convinced that, you know, he was safe to put on the stand, I don't know. It baffles me.
So already you've got credibility issues there. So you've got the financial aspect and you've got the credibility due to previous statements. If there was a court case, if Michael Jackson was alive, Michael's defense would try and impeach those witnesses by bringing into evidence previous inconsistent statements, and that would include Michael Jackson never did anything, under oath, under penalty of perjury. That alone is enough to make all these allegations highly not credible.